Welcome back, everybody. I am super excited about this podcast episode today and you guys joining me. I have a dear friend of mine, Tony, in the studio, and we're going to be talking about wholesaling. Now, why would I do this? This podcast, my whole life, is about teaching people how to do real estate without any money. The biggest part of flipping is finding properties below value, and Tony has this unbelievable expertise in doing just that, and we're going to get into it right after this.
Hey, my name's Ken Dunn, and I'm a real estate investor. I want to welcome you to the No Money Real Estate Podcast. On this show, I'm going to interview elite level real estate investors from all over North America, and I'm going to help you to see one thing that all successful real estate investors have in common. They built their portfolios without using a dime of their own money. I've got a portfolio of $300 million in real estate. That includes resorts, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and I built the entire portfolio without using a dime of my own money. Real estate is a business that anybody can get into, but the strategies that those titan real estate investors use to build massive portfolios have been kept secret for decades. Now, because of this show, I'm going to reveal them to you. So let's get started.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And Tony, I want to say, first of all, thanks for being here, man. I've had guests come into the studio for these shows from everywhere. I've never had anybody fly in from South America to do this. I appreciate you being here, bro.
Thank you for the opportunity. I feel blessed to be here, and it was a long journey.
Yeah. So let's talk about wholesaling. First of all, why don't you jump right into what it is? Like, what does that term mean? Explain that for everybody.
Right. So wholesaling is where you go out and you find properties. You connect with off-market sellers who, for whatever reason, they don't want to sell on MLS. Maybe they have some issues in their life, like they're going through stuff. They don't want people walking through their properties, so we connect with them. You know, the whole thing about finding off-market properties and getting deals is you have to really connect with these sellers and find out what their pain points are so that we can figure out reasons why they would sell to us, how we can help them. We get the properties under contract, and then we go out and we connect them to investor buyers, okay? Because there's guys out here they're out here flipping properties.
Like me?
Yeah, like you. They're in the business of flipping. They
Yeah.
don't have the time to run around and underwrite deals. Like, we're underwriting tons of deals every day. So we do all the work. We prepare these properties for the investor buyers. We connect them to the investor buyers, and we basically get paid for being in the middle and making a connection.
So what, if I understand this right, you're going out and you're finding properties that you can typically buy cheaper than what they would be listed on MLS for.
Correct.
Because these are probably a lot of times motivated people that need to get out of the properties for some reason or another. But when you're looking at properties, because of your experience and you have connections with appraisers and agents, you can figure out if somebody comes into this and puts a few dollars into it to renovate it, you know what the new value is going to be.
Correct.
So you're looking for properties that you can get under value, and you know there's a significant increase with, you know, some renovations and things like that.
Correct.
And then I guess it's important for you, like you got to be a connector to be good at this, right? Like you got to be able to find those people. You've got to be able to talk to them.
Yeah.
Then you got to have the connections on the other end to sell the property.
Correct.
How do you make money?
So it's a people business, right? And like you said, we're connecting people. And on both sides, you have to know how to figure out what your pain point for your seller is and how you can help them. And for the buyer, you know, the investor buyer that we're connecting the property to, you have to figure out what's their strategy. So are they a flipper? Are they a cottage person? Are they what's their end goal so that you can find the best deal to fit their needs?
And you just charge, so you're gonna offer a specific amount of money when you put it under contract, and then you just charge a fee.
Correct.
Oh, I get it. So you can actually charge a fee. You already know what it's going to sell for down the road once renovations are done, so you can figure out your fee in that.
So just imagine this. You can get a property under contract. While you have it under contract, you can put as little as $1,000 down, so with very little money down, control the property. And once you have control of the property, you assign that contract to your investor buyer. And in the middle, you get an assignment fee.
Got it. So this term assigning, people might not be really familiar with that. What does that actually mean? Like, is it is it a clause in a contract?
That's a good technical question, and this is why I have great teams. I have a legal team that deals with all of that.
So when
stuff.
you're putting a contract together to buy it from it, you have a clause in there that says I can give this to somebody else.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. And then is there any, so I'm going to start asking you some questions because I know you're building a coaching program now where you're going to start teaching people how to do wholesaling.
Absolutely.
Is there like a guideline when you're trying to figure out what you're going to charge as your wholesaling fee? Is it like, how do you figure that out?
You know what? We have to look at it on a deal by deal basis. I've done deals where I've made a couple $1,000s, and I've done deals where I've made up into multi-6-figure assignment.
So
fees.
you made $100,000.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so in that case, then I don't know if any of them come to mind right away, but like, what did the numbers look like that warranted $100,000 fee? Like, how much did that place did you buy it for?
So
what did you sell it to the investor for? What did he sell it for?
Right. So Hensall, Ontario, okay, it was my first deal in Ontario when I launched my marketing here. And I think we got it around $450, and this was during the really hot market.
Okay.
The house needed about $200,000 in renos, and it was sitting on a lot that was 2 parcels, 2 PIDs. So it didn't need to be, you didn't need to go through the process of subdivision. So it was like 2 lots, but 1 house. And the way the house was positioned, the person who bought it could just start building or do whatever they wanted. Or
sell the second lot or whatever they wanted.
Right. And the other wholesalers that looked at it, I don't think they saw that aspect of it. And this is where having a real estate agent helping me really helped in that process. So it needed about $200,000 to renos. The ARV was, I believe, around $900,000
after repair value.
After repair value.
So, and how did you figure out what the ARV was going to be, or how would somebody figure it out?
So depends. I mean, you can use House Sigma. You can use these different tools to pull comparable sales in that area and see what after renovated houses are selling for, and then that gives you.
It's kind of like how an appraisal is done. Like when an appraiser comes in and appraises your property, they're going to look at all the aspects of it, but what they really do is they go find 3 comparables, take the average price, and say this is the value.
There is some adjustments that they do, but basically, yeah. And that's where I got sick of having these conversations with buyers where they're trying to say like, oh, your comparables don't match, da 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 da. So I just go out and get an appraisal. And now when I go to my buyers, I don't have them trying to negotiate on my
That's
comparables.
brilliant. That's freaking brilliant.
I solve that objection up front. Here's the appraisal.
I've never seen that before. So appraisers will actually do an after repair value appraisal?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, that's how construction financing
That's
works,
right. Yeah.
So
that's freaking brilliant. So you can go out find the property and you can do your own comparable research because of your expertise, and you know it's a deal that is a good price where you're getting it. You know what you can increase it to.
Correct.
But then you go just standard and get an appraisal done, couple $100 for the ARV and
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So friends, what that actually means is he's literally making this bulletproof because the appraiser's on the hook. They cannot assign a value to that unless they know it's going to happen. And so they do that. If he gives that to the people that buying that's fun.
And not only that, that appraiser I've used her for closing on properties with my private lender. So I can even say to an end buyer, hey, you can take this appraisal to my lender and he'll lend to you on this property. Like we did in the recent deal.
Yeah. That's freaking amazing.
So,
how do you find the properties? Let's talk a little bit more about that because I'm sure that's what our viewers are wondering right now. Like, what are some of the different ways over the years that you found really good deals?
Right. So when I first started, I just did the for sale by owner. I was cruising the Kijiji and the Fizbo websites, and I actually found a off-market sixplex off-market, and I got a vendor take back on $1.4 million at like 0.5% back when I did that. So I got a crazy deal right off the bat from Fizbo. And that same seller had a second property I could have got that we could still talk about. It's still on the table.
All right. So one of the ways you're doing it, I never thought of that. So you're literally going to Kijiji where thousands of people are trying to sell the houses without agents. Right. And you're calling those people up and saying, how's that going?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I can do that faster. I can buy it from you right now.
Absolutely. There's also other options.
Yeah, let's talk about some other ways too.
Another one, my actual biggest equity, the biggest wholesale fee or equity position I got in a deal was off a bandit sign. Okay.
What's a bandit sign?
So a bandit sign is those yellow signs that you see that say "We buy ugly houses." And
so that's wholesalers putting those signs out?
Those are wholesalers.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were actually buying them. It's like I've seen them. They say, we'll
Right.
buy your house for cash as is.
Right.
Call this number.
Well, I mean, it depends. A lot of wholesalers, they buy and renovate for themselves, and they wholesale the properties that they can't do themselves.
But that's
or
okay.
whatever.
So that's interesting. So how do those signs work? Same idea, I guess. People see them, they call the number.
So what I suggest is you roll around and find properties, find pockets where there's properties that you want. If you see a house that you want you want to buy from that seller, if you go knock on his door, chances are he might slam the door in your face. But if you go put up one of these big ugly signs in front of his house and he actually calls it, he's raising his hand. There's some motivation there.
That's right. Yeah,
So-
I freaking love that. What else? What other ways?
That one was a $300,000 fee. Yeah.
That you made?
Yeah.
Holy
Because
shit.
I assigned it to, long story. I don't want to get it
Yeah.
too much detail, but it was my friends doing the renovation, and they included me in on the back end and the front end and all that.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah.
What other ways can we find cheap deals?
Well, my personal favorite is internet. Internet marketing is like I suggest everybody starts with the manual outbound lead generation, which is calling FSBO and stuff like that. But then once you gain skills to do like negotiation and talking to sellers and you have a bit of money to spend, nothing beats internet.
Wow.
Internet marketing is the way to generate off-market leads.
Now, I know somebody here in this podcast, there's a hell of a lot to it, but essentially over time, what you've done is you're just like those little FSBO signs you're talking about. You're running a FSBO Facebook ad
Correct.
that says, hey, if you're trying to sell your house, give me a call. I'm buying old houses.
Correct. Yeah, basically.
And now you have to have a system in place for that. So when you get people calling you, are you doing all those calls yourself?
Right. So I do have a sales team. We've gotten to the point where I have guys taking our sales calls and everything. But when you start out, can I share a mistake I made in the beginning?
Sure, you can.
I had another business I was transitioning out of, and it was an e-commerce business. And I tried to use the team I had for my e-commerce business in the wholesaling, and I had other people doing everything. And nothing worked for like 6 months.
Yeah, you probably screwed your e-com business up too, I bet.
I had sold it. I had just exited it for almost 7 figures. But so as soon as things didn't go right for 6 months and we just lost money, I spent 70 grand and whatever, just stuff. And the minute I picked up the phone, we had our first deal within like a week. And so I suggest you have to get out there. You have to do the grind. You have to do the work.
Yeah, we're gonna save that conversation about grind for a couple of minutes. But
Okay.
one of the things I'm wondering right now, I know that you're gonna launch a coaching business and you're gonna teach people how to do wholesaling. But if somebody has a full-time job and they do wholesaling part-time, like they can squeeze 10 or 15 hours a week in and they do it right, they follow your ideas, what kind of money could somebody make on an annual basis?
I think that it's not unlikely to make $20,000-$30,000 a month. I mean, just in one wholesale deal, I mean, our average is around $37,000 to $40,000.
So if you can wholesale one property a month,
Yeah.
you could make $500,000 a year.
Absolutely, and do it while maintaining your current job and do it as a side hustle and everything.
Why are you so excited about getting into coaching? If this is working so well for you, why do you want to start teaching other people?
Because it gets to the point where, I mean, helping other people and showing them the way is just more fulfilling. You know, there's levels to as you go through this journey, there's levels to it. And once you develop a skill, and I enjoy connecting with people, you know, not just our sellers. Like when we buy and sell a property,
Yeah.
we usually don't see that seller again. When I'm building a coaching company, these are long-term relationships
Yeah.
that we're building for forever. And so that's something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I've seen you over the last month and a half. I saw one deal that you placed that you made 50 or 60 grand. I saw another deal you placed that I know you placed it because I bought it, that you made 50 or 60 grand. I know you got another deal I'm looking at today. I mean, if I just add up those commissions, you're talking a couple $100,000 in 30 days.
Yeah, since we've been talking, it's around there.
That's crazy. Why aren't more people doing this? Like this, like I've known about wholesaling for
Right.
years. It blows my mind. I know
Right.
thousands of people. There are thousands of people that are watching this and listening to this podcast right now that need to make more money. Why aren't they doing
Well,
it?
here's why. Because you got to be creative and you got to be an out-of-the-box thinker, and you have to surround yourself with the right people. Most people they don't have the right people around them to show them the way.
And can you teach this to other people?
Absolutely. That's
All
what
right.
I'm here for.
All right, friends, you heard it here first. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation today. If you like this conversation, then definitely subscribe to the channel because Tony's going to be back. We are going into a private meeting right now where I'm going to show him exactly how to launch a coaching business around this subject. If you're interested in wholesaling and you're watching the video on YouTube, go into the chat and type the word wholesaling. Actually, do hashtag wholesale in the chat, because we'll reach out to you once Tony gets his program set up and we'll let you test drive his coaching program for free. We'll see you later.